Before we get to the video, check out my Patreon linked in the description of this video, where for $5 a month you get exclusive content such as sneak peeks at projects like upcoming videos, dioramas, stop motions, photography. You'll get a shout out in videos like this one. I also take video requests. You can see behind the scenes of my stop motions in toy photography, as well as exclusive stop motions in photography. Again, you get all these perks on my Patreon for $5 a month. Link to join in the description of this video. Now let's get to it. Okay, thank you for clicking on this video, y'all. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I will be presenting to you guys, my lovable viewers out there who support this channel, an idea that I've been thinking about for a few weeks now, actually. Something for a 2026 anniversary capsule that I would love for Hasbro to do, but is more than likely not happening when they're already celebrating two major anniversaries next year. And there's already most of the listings leaked for a 2026 product, and this hasn't come up, unfortunately, so it's probably not going to happen. But I just wanted to do this video discussing this idea because I think it would have been really cool if Hasbro did do this. And hey, there is always the 25th and 30th anniversary as well for this to happen. So you never say never with Hasbro, especially nowadays when they say everything is on the table. But the classics Subline that graced our collections and toy shelves back in 2006, it is now going to be 20 years old next year, if you could believe it. I was a little kid back then. I remember seeing some of these figures on the shelves back in 2007, 2006, around that time. Even 2008, during clearance, and they would have stuff at Dollar Tree with like the little Legends class figures from Classics. So it was a pretty fun time back then. It's 20 years old next year, ripe for the picking from what Hasbro does nowadays with anniversaries. And I just kind of wanted to drum up some stuff for a potential Subline they could do for even the 25th or 30th anniversary. So let's start off with this Constructicon Devastator pack. Now, we did just get an 86 Devastator mold this year. What if they repainted it in the Classics more so color scheme here? I know they were trying to make it more G1 because this is the Energon Constructicon mold. But what if they just put it in Classics packaging and repaint it a little bit so it looks more in line to the Classics look of the Constructicons? And bada bing, bada boom, you got a cool little reference. You get the Constructicons back out there for people who missed out on them, because it seems like this is going to be a hot commodity of a combiner set to complete this year and next year. So I wouldn't be surprised if this goes up in value relatively soon. It would make sense. It's a popular team, and getting it back out there again. Hasbro's making bucks. Collectors are happy they're able to get it. Now for deluxe class offerings here, Astro Train. I'm thinking they could repaint the Siege figure or whatever the 86 figure is going to be next year, because we have a listing for that as well. It could be a retool or a new mold, but repaint him in the Classics color scheme, and boom, you got a new Astro Train out there for people who want it. Again, put all of these guys in the famous Classics packaging to really bank off that nostalgia and, really hook people in, because I think that was something that was missing with the Galaxy Force Subline. I think they really got to bring back that nostalgia packaging for all these Sublines. But I don't know, it seems like Hasbro is kind of reluctant to do that unless if it's actual re-releases and reissues of those old molds from back in the day. But you never know. Hasbro can change their minds on stuff. Bumblebee here. I don't know, maybe just use the 86 mold or the Earthrise mold and repaint it and just add in the, I don't even know what you would call this. Is it like a jet ski thing with like the jetpack it transforms into or something? They could add that in, and I know it's kind of crazy to say nowadays considering this was all still a $10 deluxe, even though we had this big jet ski thing hooked onto him that turned into a jetpack. But, add in that little jetpack thing and make him a Voyager class. I don't know, or make him like a $35 figure or something. I don't know. Same thing with Cliffjumper. Repaint it. You got options there. Grimlock. The Pretender. The Pretender reference randomly in this Subline back in the day. Pretty crazy. I don't know if they would do a new mold for him. They could. We've seen new molds in the past with sublines and exclusive lines the last few years. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did do a new mold for Grimlock. It's the Dinobots. These are big sellers in the Transformers fandom. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they took the risk on making him a new mold. But I would not be surprised as well if they just repainted the 86 mold and they just put him in that classics packaging, and boom, you got another way to get the G1 Grimlock 86 mold. And Mirage here, please make him a new mold. That Earthrise figure is not too good. The Siege figure had a clear plastic midsection, if you could believe it, for people who weren't around back then. Or not midsection, clear plastic lower legs, actually. And I remember with my Siege figure, I saw a crack in one of the joints, and I didn't even transform him a lot, maybe like a handful of times, and I'm careful with my figures. So that figure was just a mess. The Kingdom one was one of those lazy retools of the Siege figure into an Earth mode. So please just give us a new Mirage mold, but make him the classics design that is really cool. He's got that sort of crossbow weapon. He turns into this badass robot mode that's kind of tall and lanky. That would be really cool to see. And then Ramjet, easy repaint from the new 86 Seeker mold that's coming out next year. Save some money on that, just repaint. I just remembered he's a cone head. They got to do the new head and everything and retool it a little bit. But still, it's not going to be a new mold, so they would be, I'd assume, saving a little bit, because again, I don't know everything on toy production. So, but yeah, that would kind of be an easy retool for them. Rodimus, release the 86 mold, but without all the extra accessories. Would that be just a deluxe class figure if they just packed in maybe one of his Target Master guns or something? I don't know. I would assume he would be more so a deluxe if they just put in one accessory with him instead of the crap ton that the 86 figure came with. But with how budgets are nowadays and the price increases, even so, he might just be a Voyager, but I don't know for sure. But, they could just repaint the 86 figure, because it's really not too much different from this classics figure. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit more of an Earth mode looking alt mode for Hot Rod, or they called him Rodimus back then. But they could probably just repaint the 86 figure if they wanted to. Starscream, again, they could do the Seeker mold. We do have a Starscream figure coming out next year. They could just take that figure and change up the paint apps slightly to match what they did in Classics, and bada bing, bada boom, you got an easy repaint, and you got another G1 Starscream out there for people to drool over like myself. And in terms of 2-packs, they could do the Optimus and Megatron thing. Maybe that could be a way where we get a G2 Megatron out of the mold. That would be pretty cool to see, and they could just reissue the Earthrise Optimus and put this in the 2-pack or something to maybe make it a bit cheaper, so it's not like, I don't know, $100 for 2 figures nowadays. And then Ultra Magnus in a Skywarp 2-pack. We are getting a Skywarp next year in 86. They do have the Ultra Magnus that was just done in the Target 4-pack. They could reissue that so people can get one that's a bit cheaper if people want the Ultra Magnus, and in case that 4-pack goes up in value, which it might. Getting that back out there would be a smart idea for people who really want that, because it is kind of a hyped up release in that 4-pack among the fandom. And then Skywarp 2, it's a popular Seeker. Obviously, Hasbro's not going to shy away from doing another Seeker like Skywarp, so just changing up the paint apps slightly to match the Classics version of the character, and boom, you got another easy 2-pack. Legends class is interesting because there's a lot of references you could do, especially if whenever they do a Classics potential anniversary subline, whether it's the 25th or 30th anniversary, they could do like Whirl from Evac, Bumblebee from the new Legacy Hot Rod. They could do Fireflight from a potential Cybertron Jetfire they could do in between this time. They could do Jetfire from Thundercracker mold from Cybertron if they ever redo him. They could do Leo Prime from Leo Breaker if we ever get a new Leo Breaker. There's also the possibility of a freaking Menasor. Yes, a Menasor from the Cybertron 2005 Optimus design. That was done in Legends class back in the day. If we ever do get a Cybertron Optimus, which we probably are in the next couple years, it's just obvious. He's one of the more hyped up designs of Optimus Prime in the fandom. He's really asked for the last couple years, so I definitely think he's coming at some point soon in the next few years. So a Menasor repaint, that would be pretty easy, getting the mold back out there, and it would probably be a pretty big seller. You know, it's Optimus mold repainted as Menasor. That's like that's like an easy win for Hasbro. And then they could do Perceptor from a potential Cybertron Defense Team Red Alert mold if they ever do that. And then there's a freaking Trypticon repaint they could do if they ever make Cybertron Scourge. You know, there's a lot of crazy repaints that would actually be pretty badass to see in the modern era. There are mini-cons from Classics, but, you know, I wouldn't even waste my time talking about this because a lot of these mini-cons I don't think Hasbro is ever going to redo because they're super obscure, and, you know, the Micromaster stuff didn't work out too well back during Siege and Earthrise, so I don't know, it seems like these are taking a back seat. I wouldn't really count on us getting any of these Minicon classic characters. And then for Voyager class to top it off with, Jetfire. I don't know if they would do a new mold for him. I mean, they could, obviously, but I wouldn't mind if they just repainted the Siege figure to match more of how he looked in Classics. And boom, you got another opportunity to get that pretty hyped up Siege mold that I think is still even hard to get nowadays, even though he was reissued, like a year or two ago. I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro wouldn't want to pass up reissuing that mold that people still love and would want to buy. And then Megatron, this is a tricky one, because Classics Megatron turned into a Nerf gun, so I don't know, maybe they would make him some sort of a Cybertronian weapon, like what I think Evan was talking about a few months ago in like an Instagram DM or something, if they did Megatron as like a cannon. That could be the case, but I feel like they would probably just repaint the 86 mold in the Classics color scheme, you know, that crazy purple, neon green, orange, and gray. And then to top it off, Voyager Optimus Prime. They could use the Earthrise mold, or they could use the 86 mold, release him as a leader class. I really can see them going either way, you know, without the trailer, with Earthrise as a Voyager class, possibly. I honestly don't know. There's a few different ways it could go. With Optimus Prime, I would be more so inclined that they would make him a new mold to actually match up the design of how Classics Optimus looked. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went that route for, you know, obviously Optimus Prime. He's always going to sell no matter what. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro took that little gamble there. But you never know. He could just be a repaint of like the Earthrise or the 86 mold. But yeah, guys, this is just some stuff that I wanted to kind of speculate on for a potential Classics anniversary capsule line that could come out, you know, for maybe the 25th or the 30th anniversary. You never know. But yeah, guys, let me know down below. How do y'all feel about us potentially maybe getting a Classics anniversary line at some point, you know, 5-10 years from now? And would you guys pick up any of these releases? And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye.